The next pandemic is not a question of if, but of when. And we cannot afford to repeat the same mistake of the past. That's why WHO's member states are negotiating a new pandemic accord and amendments to the international health regulations to strengthen the legal framework for the global response to pandemics. And we can't stop there. We must follow through with national ratification and accountable implementation. For the sake of future generations, we must not go back to the old cycle of panic and neglect that left our world vulnerable.
My amendment here is very simple. It says that if a treaty has a law in it that has the bearing on United States citizens, on our domestic activities, then it has to follow the lawmaking process of the Constitution.
The World Health Organization's international health regulations, updated in 2005 and amended in 2014, claim to be designed to stop the spread of infectious diseases worldwide by requiring countries to report health emergencies and maintain strong surveillance systems in place, according to the Pan American Health Organization.
The resolution, including the amendments contained in document A77/A/COM./14, is adopted.
But with new amendments set to kick in on July 19th, 2025, the clock is ticking, as unelected officials in Geneva will have the power to penetrate sovereign countries with lockdowns and vaccine mandates. This amendment could hit the Western world in places like Australia, the US, the UK, and Canada, where people didn't vote for this oversight. Most people don't even realize it's happening. Add to that, digital IDs create another dystopian layer. It could lead to a surveillance-based technocracy where governments track every move. California's rollout of digital driver's licenses and a January 2025 executive order from former President Joe Biden are pushing this forward, turning phones into tools that could enforce global health rules. Worse still, this could spiral into dystopian outcomes like forced quarantines in isolated government camps, mandatory health implants for real-time monitoring, and a Chinese-style social credit system where compliance with the World Health Organization directives determines access to jobs, travel, or food. If these amendments are enforced, nations could potentially be obligated to set up local enforcement bodies that answer to the World Health Organization, not their own voters or courts, leading to a future where dissenters are silenced through digital blacklisting, or where entire regions are locked down indefinitely based on global health decrees.
And the premise is for the World Health Organization, the Director General can still declare public health emergency. Sure, he kind of has to go to the committee and make sure that there is some kind of agreement, but he gets to appoint the committee members. So do you think there's going to be any resistance towards him declaring this public health emergency? No. We both know there won't be any. And he can still issue the quarantine, isolation, tell us what type of diagnostic treatments, vaccines we have to recommend. He can restrict travel into the area. He can institute there is still that vaccine passport language. Is a little bit different, but it's still there.
And the WHO has been counting on the fact that people will not pay attention, and if they try to pay attention, they will find it confusing and bureaucratic, and they will think the World Health Organization doesn't really have any power, and so they will just ignore it. And that is the opposite of the right reaction. We have to kill this off dead. That is the only way to send the message that this was a completely unacceptable overreach from the get-go, and that no part of it is tolerable to us, no matter how mild they make it sound. We know what they're up to, as you point out, by looking at the earliest drafts and seeing the jaw-dropping powers that they were attempting to commandeer.
This accord is a generational opportunity that we must seize.
The Mockingbird media is predictably staying quiet on what could be the globalists' final desperate move for a new world order. John Bowne reporting for